Hey sis,
Hello, good evening.
good evening. I don't have my camera on right now, but I will turn it on shortly. I'm in the room. I was just getting myself ready. Just as a reminder, of course, you know what? Let me put this in the chat as well. That that this is being recorded.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, not a problem. Mm. So just keep doing it. Hold on. Hey sis, are you home now?
Yes, I am.
Oh, okay. How you been feeling?
Oh man, thankful and grateful for life.
I feel you.
Sorry, it was already open. Yeah, close your door.
Okay, thank you. I'm so tired. I how you call it? I shared it in the survivors group, Cindy, but yesterday I had a accident. Hold
Are you
on.
okay?
Yeah, I'm actually okay. Hold on. I did before you text me. It's the link right before you text me. Yeah, so hold on, I'm waiting for not Cindy. You're Cindy. What is
It's just us two for now.
I know, what a moment. Paulette, that's who was just texting me. I texted a link. Um I texted a link and then she said, "Can you text me the link?" I said, I just texted to you. I'm like, I just texted to you right before you said to me, text me the link. I'm like,
Maybe it
so,
didn't come in yet.
oh my Lord. Good thing about technology, huh? So, yesterday I was actually on my way to, oh my Lord, I'm going to get this story out. Just give me a quick second.
No problem.
So I was on my way to a nail appointment and, I was fine on the highway. And as I exited the highway, I slowed down. Now, for those who know, I have a bad habit that I am working on breaking of texting and driving. Um, I wasn't texting, I wasn't talking to anybody, I didn't reach for nothing, I wasn't eating, I wasn't drinking. I had both hands on the wheel. Um, I lost control of my car. The wheels started to slip, and I slowed down even some more, and I was trying to guide the car, and the car started going left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. And I said, "Oh my God." And I felt like the car was about to tip. And I let go of the wheel and I kind of like just closed my eyes because sis, when I tell you at that moment, I was like, okay.
Jesus,
We,
take the wheel.
I was just like, that's it. And the car spun and I went backwards. The spinning threw me into a ditch. Um, Two cars like came to a screeching halt and they came running. And they're like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And I'm just sitting there like, "Thank you, God." And I was like, "I'm good. I'm good. I'm not hurt." Okay. I said, "I'm not hurt. Can you wait right there until I get out of this ditch, see if I can drive up out of it?" And they're like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah." So I was able to slowly but surely drive myself up out the ditch. And car was still driving. And like when you're nervous and your leg may bounce, that's exactly how my foot was doing. My foot was going. I felt like Thumper. I was going, and I'm shaking. My hands are shaking, and my foot's going. And I was trying to like stop it because I was, like, okay, we just went through something just now. I don't need to have no control over my foot, and so I was able to continue driving to my nail appointment. And when I got there, I just sat there and I just like was like, oh my God. So I was able like to shake the majority of it off. I was able to eat my food because I had just, I had just gotten a veggie sub, to eat. And I had that. I had a couple puffs and went into my nail appointment. Got my birthday slash Valentine Day nails. And then like later on I was, I went home and I was like, my God. I was just like, I'm just grateful. And I was like, well, my kids are good, I'm good. Like at that moment, it's like, what was I complaining about? Right. You know what I'm saying?
Get it, yo.
It's like, what issues do I really have? And that was it. I'm on a live. I'm on a live.
Yeah. Those,
What?
those the phone.
Oh, okay. All right. Oh, because it's dead. And that was it, girl. That was my evening. Uh, I was this close to still like getting a drink, but y'all know that I was like, I'm not gonna drink until my birthday. And after that moment, I was like, man, fuck that. I'm gonna have me a drink. And a very dear soul said to me, you can wait for your birthday. And I
Yeah.
was like, okay.
Okay.
I was like, okay, because I really, really wanted to have a drink. Hey, Kashawn.
Hey,
Hey,
can you hear me?
Kashan.
Yes, yes, I can hear you. How are
I'm
you?
I'm great. I'm finding my phone charger because I realized my phone is about to die.
Ooh, no.
Yeah, we don't want those problems.
No, we don't. No, we do not. Hold on. Paulette Coulter. Is that my Paulette? Because I don't know a Coulter.
You're gonna be our Paulette.
Okay, I
Is
just
it
had to
our
get the word out
Paulette?
my mouth.
You's about to be ours. Hey, Kashawn, real quick. I was telling Paulette, can you hear me? Because I believe that's her last name. Because I thought it was something
Yeah,
else.
yeah.
Okay. I had some, you know what it is? It's different on Facebook now that I think about it. So that's probably she's like, yes.
Yeah.
So let me tell you real quick what happened. I was just telling Cindy, very, very long story short. Yesterday evening, I was on my way to my nail appointment and my car spun out of control. Um, right before it began to tip over, I felt like it was gonna tip, like I would have tumbled, like where I would have been left upside down. I let go of the wheel, and I remember closing my eyes for a quick second because I just didn't know what was about to happen. And the car was going left, right, and it just spun out of control, and I actually got thrown into a ditch. I
Wow.
was able to drive out slowly but surely. There were a couple people that came running to me, and I'm just sitting there like shocked, you know. And I was just telling them I'm not her, I'm not her. And one thing I put out there was like I wasn't texting, I wasn't talking, I didn't reach for nothing, I wasn't eating, I wasn't drinking. It was just a wet road. I wasn't speeding, um, or anything like that. It was just something that had happened, and I was like, wow, you know. And you know, Thumper from Bambi, you know how his foot does that. That's exactly what my foot was doing. And I was having a hard time controlling my foot because I was just shaking. And you know, I was able to continue my travel, which wasn't far from the exit to my nail lady. And by the time I got there, you know, shook the rest off that I, you know, the majority of it I was able to eat. And then I was, you know, got in, and she had given me, she had like free snacks and stuff like that. And she had like little liquor things. And I was like, man, fuck that. I'm gonna have me a drink. Now, mind you, I'm not doing any liquor until my birthday. But I felt like with that situation, you know, I could have had me a drink. And a very dear soul said to me, he was like, you could wait till your birthday. And I was like, you're right.
Good.
You're
Good.
right. And then, you know, as I thought about it, I'm sitting here thinking, like, now what was I complaining about? Now what really is the issue? What's really important right now? You know what I'm saying? I was just, and I actually experienced for the first time at that. I went to my first cleansing, spiritual cleansing ceremony.
Mm,
It was a last minute invite that night, like 10 o'clock that night,
wow.
yesterday night. And I was like, now, you know, some people, especially in the church, you know, consider a lot of these things to be not good. But being that I've come away from that type of thinking, and being that this was to me a right on time invitation right after the experience, I was just like, let me go. So I went today. That was quite the interesting experience. It was a very good experience for me, but it was like, you know, like everything that I had seen on documentaries, I've heard, you know, like I saw it there. I saw it there, like the chickens, the sacrifice, the cleansing. You know, I was just like, wow, this is quite interesting, you know. And I feel good. I feel good. I'm just like, okay, all right. Let's keep it going now. What else do we do? What else do we do right now? You know, cuz when the rubber meets the road, I mean, yeah, I'm not too sure what our housing situation is going to end up like, but at the same time, it's like, but I have life. We have life. And like, is it really that bad if we were evicted? Is it really that bad? You know, I have a job, I have a car that still drives and still going to be connected to the right people for through the auctions and stuff like that. But like, I swear that experience yesterday just like clicked something else. And so, thinking about today's um meeting, I was just like, man, come on, Kashawn. I know he about to come with something. That is something.
I might have a little something for us. I might have
No,
a
man,
little something.
whatever, little,
Yeah.
big, whatever. I'm like, I am so freaking ready. So I'm so grateful for you guys, just in general. But the floor is yours, Kashawn.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
You are welcome.
Um, so I set out and I was like, what am I going to talk about? What thing is relevant to my life that'll also be relevant to yours? What? And I was like, empowerment, because I was going through self-sabotage. I
Okay.
mean, we can all know what self-sabotage looks like because we can see it in other people, right? But
True.
then you're like, man, you self-sabotaging your whole life. Look at you.
Right.
Like, get it
Right.
together. You don't see this pattern right here. You don't see this. You living in the same cycle. Here we go again.
There
And
you
you've got all
go.
of these things where you can see the self-sabotage. But then when you look at yourself and you're like, oh, I'm self-sabotaging by doing all of the things that I don't like. Or I'm self-sabotaging by doing all of the things that lead me here. It's easy to identify it and say, yeah, I'm self-sabotaging. But then the self always wants to forgive the self. Like, I'll just do it next time. Kind of like when you were about to have that drink and you were justifying it, you were rationalizing it. Like,
I sure
you know
was.
what? I earned this, right?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, you had talked yourself all the way into it, and it was the spirit, it was the soul that had to give you the conscience to say, no, do this. It had to bring you back to center. So if you had not listened to that, if you'd have been like, nah, forget that, I'm just going to go ahead and do it, you would have had to live out that new cycle.
Oh my
That new
God.
cycle
Yeah.
of whatever that created, you would have had to live that out because you decided something and then you went back on what you decided. So you decided to be somebody and then you actually went against that self that you decided to be. So you're working against yourself actively if you had given into that.
Golly. Now that'll
And
preach. That'll preach right there.
right. So that was the thing that I realized is self-sabotage is us actively working against ourselves, because we have two parts of us. We've got our brain and everything is working towards, let's say, survival. The brain is wired to help us to survive in whatever possible way, the best possible way that we can survive. Whatever we need to do to accomplish something, your brain will figure it the fuck out. Your brain will work itself to endless degree to the point where you're not even sleeping just to figure out how to survive no matter what you're doing. If
Yeah.
you say, hey, I want to go to the moon, your brain is going to figure out how to get you to the moon. You say, hey, I want to pay this rent, your brain is going to figure out how that's possible and
Yeah.
if that's possible. So
Right.
our brain is wired for merely survival, but the heart is wired for connection. That's why the heart creates the brain in order to make connection. So because our hearts are wired for connection, we are literally in a place where what happens is we disconnect from ourselves and we stand in our own way during the moments of self-sabotage. So we've now said, hey, you know what? I know you want this because you said it, you spoke it, and it came from your heart. It was the truth of who you are. But
Yeah.
I'm going to now stand against you and I'm going to justify it. And I'm going to say, no, if our heart is divided and our heart doesn't know what it wants, our heart is unstable, our heart is going back and forth, where does our brain go?
Listen, this reminds me of that scripture, of course, going back to church because that was the foundation of everything for me growing up. But that
Mm-hmm.
scripture that says a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways.
Yes. Yes.
That's
And
wow.
I'm glad that you said that because I've had quite the journey on that. See, I went all the way into spirituality, deep, deep into spirituality. And as I want to say, as I got fascinated with it and as I explored as much of it as I wanted to, because it's endless, I realized something. I left that one part, that emotional part that I learned from being in church. You
Okay.
know how you walk into a church and you can feel the presence of something.
Right.
You call it God, you can call it spirit, you can call it the creator, you can call it anything you want to call it, but you feel the presence of something.
Yeah.
That's because that's the only place that I know of where everybody's heart is open. It's open. At that very moment, everybody shows up as with all their pain, all their drama, all their everything, and their heart is open and they are giving it to the creator. They're giving it to God. And that open-hearted experience was something that I kept searching for, and I did not find it in spirituality. I actually had to go back to praying and talking to God with my better understanding to even find it, to even retrieve it. And I'll tell you this, Teresa, when I say that my spirituality has power now, you will not believe how much power it really has. Like
Mm.
the things that I can do when it's like I am focused and I decide something is, you know how in the Bible it says, like, you know, basically you could look to that mountain and you could say move and it'll move.
Right.
That's real. That power actually exists. I can feel it. It's almost like if the religions would actually teach you the spiritual principles, those together, that's where the power is, because it teaches you how to use your heart, how to use your heart to guide your mind, not control it, not do anything else but guide it. How to say, hey, this is where I'm trying to go. Is this a possibility? How can we make this happen? So you guys are working in relationship with one another. But there's
Got
one
their
thing that,
relationship.
yeah, yeah, exactly. There's one thing that has to happen first before you can even get to that relationship. And it is ending the old. You have to completely wash away your old self. You have to let go of you, the you that existed before you made that decision. Before you decided I'm no longer going to drink before my birthday. Before I decide I'm going to start doing this. Before I set a goal, everything before that is the old me, and I have to be willing to let that go in order to actually reach where I'm going, in order to actually become who I want to become, because the old me didn't get there. If the old me could have made it there, I would have been there.
I wouldn't have
I
had
didn't
to
need
make
the
no
people.
adjustments.
Exactly. Exactly. So I have to be able to let go of my old self in order to accomplish new things.
You know, and I've said this before, Jesus is the prime example as far as the Christian religion as to how powerful a human being is.
Yes.
Because one thing he says in scripture is like he always talks about how he's not apart from his father, that the father and I are one. And then we go back into Genesis, and Genesis says, that God, and the spirit, if you will, at least that's how people break it down. It's like it must have been God's spirit in Jesus that said, let us make man in our image and in our likeness. And what exactly does that even mean, to be like God or to look like God? And then
Right.
Jesus comes down, and Jesus is doing all these amazing things, like quote unquote walking on water. And I've recently said to somebody, I'm like, can we walk on water? Can we actually walk on water? And she kind of like was like, is this a trick question? I'm like, no, I'm asking you, like, do you think you could walk on water?
Mhm.
And she was still kind of like, I don't know how to answer that. And I said, well, let me tell you what I think. I honestly think that Teresa and Taylor can walk on water. Now,
Mhm.
what is it going to take for me to tap into that? I don't know, but Jesus did it. So I'm like,
Right.
and
There you
Jesus
go.
even said, that greater things you will do, because I got to go to the Father, right? You know what I'm saying? So just a lot of things keep taking me back, just like what you're expressing, taking me back to that and reminding me, like, no, Teresa, it's not about per se religion, but these examples have been set before you for a reason. And so when
Yes.
you said,
Yes. Exactly.
Excuse me, to say to the mountain to be moved, we have the power. Yes, I believe that.
Exactly.
But in
Exactly. We have to.
our mind is like, well, how the hell is that gonna happen? Yeah, you're gonna talk to, Kennesaw Mountain, you're gonna talk to, Everest, and you're gonna say, hey, move out the way. And then all of a sudden the rumbling's gonna happen and the mountain's gonna move. I'm like, it may not happen like that, but can it move? Yeah.
Exactly.
So yeah, just
Exactly.
have to about that. But go
That
ahead.
no, you're absolutely right. And this is the crazy thing is like when I went back with my spiritual understanding and actually reread into the things, I started to realize something. The life of Jesus, that man was he delivered metaphors for a reason because he was the metaphor. He was a walking, living, breathing metaphor for the fact that we have a connection point within us, in our hearts, in our soul.
Right,
Our soul is the direct connection to the source, to the creator, to the all, to the everything else. And being able to tap into that is the gift. The fact that you can even do it is the gift. That means that I am capable. I am completely capable of resolving, solving, or finding a way out and through any circumstance that comes upon me. And I know when you've been victimized a lot, it feels like that might not be possible. But those are the lies that you fall into. That's the trap. That's the thing. Is I've been a victim. I'm sure we've all been victims. How many of us have been victims?
Yeah,
We've been victims, right?
absolutely.
So when you've been a victim of something, it leaves this imprint of fear in you. It's this little bit of fear, and that fear creates a pattern. That's what creates that pattern. It creates that cycle of I don't want this. Well, if you don't want it, your brain can't decipher want or don't want, but it deciphers that that's an experience. It's an
Yeah.
impactful experience. Your heart is carrying it. You holding on to it. So guess what? It keeps finding more situations like that, and then you end up doing it again and again and again and again. If you end up in the same circumstances more than 2 times, you are in a cycle, and you have to accept that. And you have to find out, I'm in this situation. What is it that I'm afraid of? What am I running from? What is it that about me that keeps putting me in this situation? It's going to look different. You might end up doing this, and this, and ending up here. Let's say you what's a good example? Oh, I'll use me personally.
Okay.
I used to end up in situations where I overgive, and I end up in a situation where I got my heart broken, right?
Yeah.
Why do I keep experiencing the same type of heartbreak? It's like every story over and over again, it keeps ending the same. Why does it keep ending like this? Well, because the first one was impactful. And then I didn't deal with that. I didn't figure out, okay, you know what? I'm afraid to get my heart broken like this again. I never dealt with that. I never really sat with that. I just got up and said, oh, you got to keep on moving because that's what the world tells you. Somebody breaks up with you, to hell with them. And you just keep on moving as if nothing happened and acting like you not hurt and acting like, oh, I'm going to get through it and I'm going to be better off and I'm going to level up and date a better person than you. And you act like all of these things, but you don't resolve that. And you're still carrying that fear, that trauma. And guess what you experience? The same thing again.
So
The same thing again.
would you say that fear is what is attracting?
Yes. Yes. That's what fear does. Fear is love in reverse. Love and fear, they're one. When you do something that is loving, kind, good, you're not looking, you're not afraid. There is no fear there. You're not looking at, oh, this person is going to do something to me, or oh, this person. When you're doing something out of pure love, it just is what it is. And when you're doing something out of fear, it just is what it is. You are afraid of it. You can justify it all you want because it's in reverse, right? So we justify, we use all of these reasons, we try to make sure that we rationalize it and we try to layer it with all of these things, but it is fear. And when you go and you find that fear, once you actually sit with that, you realize that if you disidentify from that, if you sit with it and then disidentify from that old self, from the old patterns and from that fear, I'm no longer afraid to get my heart broken, then you will not experience heartbreak. You
How do
know what?
you how do you
Go ahead.
like what would you say are the steps that you've taken? What does that look like? When you say disidentify, for those who may not understand the depth of that word, like what does that even mean? What does that look like?
I'll give a detailed example for this one because I feel like it's that important. When you and we're using heartbreak, right? Does anybody have another example that they want to use?
No, because well, not for me, because I
We'll
definitely
go
know.
with heartbreak. Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. We'll go with heartbreak. When you experience heartbreak and you don't and you sit with yourself and you realize that it doesn't matter how you got your heart broken, doesn't matter why you got your heart broken. Your heart is just broken. You're just hurt. You're in a position where you gave all that you had. You did the best that you could do with all the information that you had. Everything that you were up until that time, there's nothing wrong with you. You're not damaged. You're not whatever this person said. The reasons why you broke up, that's just their justification for it. Whatever is happening, that is irrelevant to the fact that your heart is actually broken. Your heart is broken. You're sad. When you lose something in life, it doesn't matter the circumstances around it, you lost it and you're experiencing that pain. So you got to go sit with that pain. You know what? I lost. I just took an L right now. And as I'm sitting here taking this L, how do I feel? Well, I feel disappointed. And I can blame everybody, but I'm just disappointed. Take all of the layers off. Just disappointed. How else do you feel? I feel embarrassed. I feel like nothing I do is going to matter as much anymore. I feel damaged, whatever those feelings are. And when you get to those feelings, you can even go so far as to say, how does that feeling feel in your body? Well, for some reason, the core of my stomach, it's in knots. And my heart is like, it's racing a little bit. I got a headache all the time. My back hurts all the time. Whatever the feeling is, you can
Can't
identify
sleep.
those feelings. But you gotta go spend some time with the broken you. And when you go spend some time with the broken you, let it express. Kind of like when you're sitting on the phone with your friend and your friend is telling you about all of this stuff and everything else, but you can hear their heart talking. Because that's what we respond to. We respond to, you can hear that your friend can be telling you all of this stuff about this person did this and this and this, but you can hear, I'm hurt.
Yeah.
I'm sad. I'm this. You can hear that. And that's what you have to do with you. Because when you get up, you want to make sure that that's the last time you have to get up from that spot. You don't want to end up back there. If you've ever talked to anybody over and over again about the same problem.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I've also been the ear to the same shit.
To the same thing. It's like, man, you going through the same thing again? You just went through this last year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why is this happening again? And you want to fix it for him, but you know that you can't. But you can fix it for you. You can fix your cycles and your self-sabotage for you, but you have to go to that broken part. You have to go to the brokenness. You have to go into that part. But the next step is after you get there and you're letting it express and you are really, really sitting with yourself and that fear. You got to pick yourself up. You got to pick yourself up out of that moment. Most of the time, it's this. We try to justify ourselves out of it. We try to explain ourselves out of it. We try to pump ourselves up. You know what? Forget them, or you know what? This doesn't matter, or you know what? This is not that big a deal. So what? And we try to make it not as important. But that's not true. So you can't lie to your own heart. Your heart knows. Your heart knows what's real and fake because your heart just emanates truth. You have to sit with it and say, you know what? I want to make sure that you never experience this again. I want to move forward in a direction where you can grow and be safe. Let's make you safe. Let's do things that are conducive with you growing in a better direction. Let's make sure you choose better people to encounter. Let's make sure that you don't have a drink before your birthday. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
let's make sure that these things don't happen. And your heart, you got to be with it. That's how you get on the same page. Because once you're on the same page, you become immovable. You become this person to where all of a sudden, instead of you being in two different places and you want something but you can't have it, or you feel like you should have something but you don't deserve it,
Yeah.
instead of being in those different, conflicting beliefs or those conflicting styles, you're all in on one accord. You're all centered.
I like how you explained, like when we have to deal with our emotions, because it's very easy and we've all done it. It's very easy to just put the blame on the next person because, hell, we reacted to them.
Right.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So it only makes sense. Like if you didn't do this, I wouldn't feel like this.
Right.
Um, but you know what? It also goes back to we can't change anybody. Yes, we know who hurt us, so
Right.
putting the blame on somebody won't change the situation either. However,
No.
taking our power back, by acknowledging solely what we're feeling at that moment, like you said, I'm sad, I'm disappointed, I'm embarrassed, I'm angry, I'm scared,
Right.
or whatever, and then sitting with it and acknowledging it, because a lot of times, for myself too, I don't have time to sit here and cry again. Like
Yeah.
I got shit to
Right.
do. Like
Yeah.
and when I cry, my nose is stuffy, my eyes are puffy, and it's just like
Right.
it's like a whole shitload of things that keep happening. It's just like I don't feel like going through this again. And so I harden my heart, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and before you know it, I'm in the cycle again because, like you said, you didn't deal with it. So there's been a lot of times in my own personal life where I've gone through cycle after the same damn cycle
Right.
because it's not dealing with what I really need to deal with. And I want better.
Right.
I don't want to get my heart broken again. Who wants to get their heart broken again? You know what I'm
Nobody.
saying? But at the same time, it's just like, did you acknowledge what you did last time? Did you acknowledge the decisions that you made after that heartbreak, which was the
Right.
same damn decisions before, over and over and over again, And yes, again, you can keep blaming everybody, but like going back to, even with the drinking, I had every right to have that drink yesterday. I had
You did.
every,
You did.
but at the same time, you hit it right on the fucking head. You're like, if you took that drink, you would have started the damn cycle again.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Exactly.
oh my God, I would
Exactly.
have. I
Exactly.
would have. I was that close. And again, it wasn't a good or bad thing or right or wrong thing. It was
No.
like, Teresa, you set something out for yourself for good reason. Don't go back just because you experienced something.
There you go.
Just give yourself a couple more days. Your day's coming, honey.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? So I just thank you for breaking it down like that. But go ahead, hon.
Accomplishment gives us a track record within. And every time you set a goal or you decide something, any decision, if you say, I'm going to fold the clothes when I get upstairs and you don't do it, little disappointment. Little disappointments ripple out into big disappointments. Little situations turn into bigger situations because you're doing things against yourself. We are our own worst enemy. That's just what it is. So it's like instead of starting that cycle all over again and going through that pattern and everything else, you don't know where that cycle goes, but you do know where it goes. It just looks different every time you go through it.
I swear it does.
But you broke it. You continue forward and said, no, I'm this. So guess what? By the time your birthday comes and you actually have that drink, it's going to taste better. You're going to be able to have that satisfaction within, like, I set this before me and I accomplished it. For me, it was ensuring that I'm equally represented in a relationship. That was a big, big thing for me, is making sure that when I'm in a relationship, or when I'm in a any type of relationship, a business relationship or anything like that, I don't put other people and their ideas and their feelings and their emotions or their anything, their concepts or just their desires before myself, and I'm sitting equally at the table. Because what used to happen, this happened to me in a few business relationships, is I was
Mhm.
working and I was doing everything and they were profiting. And then
Ah,
I had the audacity to feel exploited. Like, you're benefiting off of all of my work. How dare you ask me what's going on? And now I'm taking actions outside of my character because I'm angry. Well, why am I angry? Because I allowed myself to be in this situation? No, I really put myself here when I didn't speak up for myself, when I didn't say, hey, this is what I want. Hey, this is what is important to me. Now, how can we meet in the middle and make sure that we're both doing what's important to us? Those type of things showed up. So when I got an opportunity to venture into another business, well, guess what? I'm equally as important as this person and this person and this person and everybody else that's at the table with me. My thoughts, my ideas, the value that I come to bring is equally as important. And maintaining that understanding for myself is what allows me to not feel like, oh, I'm being exploited. No, I'm contributing.
mm, okay.
And that makes all the difference in the outcome. Like we said, the brain is always wired for survival. The heart is always going to be wired for connection, wired
We'll just
for that open love. And with fear, if I'm afraid to say what's true, to do what's right, to experience these things, then I'm blocking off the route that it might take for me to get to where I'm trying to go.
so brain is wired for survival, heart is wired for connection. What would you say spirit is?
Spirit is the thing that communicates in between. It communicates all the way through. There is I don't remember what it's called, but I will post it in your group.
Okay.
There is something that occurs in nature. It occurs mostly in space, right? And it's like a vacuum. It's the thing that's between two wormholes. It's the thing that's in between two black holes. And it's that space that where air actually flows through two circular things that are moving independently. They operate differently. They move independently. Consider it one universe and another universe, right? So here you have these two different universes, but you have a black hole that connects the two of them. That's
Mhm.
God. That's the creator. It's able to move fluidly, unbothered between the two of them. And it communicates whatever is coming from it. It doesn't communicate anything specific. It just communicates the truth of whatever's coming from it. That's what it is. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. It just takes on a whole nother level.
It does.
It just takes
I'll,
on a whole nother level.
I'll also say it this way. You asked what is like disidentifying from the old self and the old patterns. And we were talking about going with that feeling and kind of sitting with that feeling, right?
Mhm.
Everybody should do this, I believe. When you're there, find out what gifts you were given in your darkest moment. When you're defeated, when you're in a depressed state, when you are experiencing that fear, when you are sitting with your own pain and talking about your disappointment, what gift are you being given?
Mhm.
Because you are being given a gift. Every gift that we have has been given to us in our darkest moments. That's where we get tenacity. That's where we get, all of the strength to survive. If anything has ever happened to you and you like, I don't even know how this happened, but I was able to get up and do this, and this, it's because of that gift that you were given in your darkest moment that gave you the strength to overcome it.
True.
So find out what those gifts are and then start using them. That's how you disidentify from your old self. Because those gifts are the new you that's meant to be drawn out. And life is going to test it. Life is going to say, are you really different? Are you the same person? Let me go ahead and throw some problems your way. Let's see. Oh, you are the same person. Boom, past that level. Okay. Do you really want this, or do you might want something else? Let's go ahead and give you some options and let's see which one you might want. Oh, you really do want this. Pass
Them
that
options are something else. So freaking tricky, those options.
When you get to the level that you have options, that is when you are nearly there and when you are closest to your goal. And more times than not, people choose something other than what they decided. And now they got to go a different route. I did. I had to do that over and over again. It's like I was just walking through hallways and doors. Like I got a little turned around. Like, which way is north? Man, I need a sign. No, I need a bigger sign. No, I need a sign that's like right on somebody's forehead to let me know where to go and what to do. Right?
Yeah.
But when you're looking for those signs, you're not following your heart. You can't. You can't be following your heart and looking for signs at the same time. The signs are just indicators like, yeah, I'm still going the right way. You're supposed to notice the signs, not be searching everywhere looking for a sign. It's not a sign then.
Oh my God.
It ceases to be a sign when you're looking for it. It doesn't happen that way. You know, those signs are like confirmation. It's like, we've almost arrived. It's like those mile markers on the road that let you know that you've driven for 48 miles. Now you're going 60 miles, and it's just another sign. It's an indicator. But if you're looking for it and you're like, where is it? Where is it? You're not really following your heart. You're not really driving. You're more of a passenger.
I'm so happy this is being recorded. I'm just like, oh my God. So many downloads right now. It's like, oh my God. This is so good.
I don't want to hold everybody up, and I know we're about to close. And we've got like maybe about 10 minutes left, but I'll say this. Just on empowerment and making sure that you empower yourself, you have to empower yourself from that deepest place. You can't empower yourself from a facade. You can't empower yourself from a fake platform that you've decided to stand on, from fake false beliefs or false narratives. You can't do that. And if you really want to take accountability and know where you really are, take away anything anybody has ever done from you, like to you. Take away all of that. When you look at a situation where somebody did something to you, take away all of their actions and look at what you did. And are you proud of yourself in that moment? That'll tell you right there. It'll let you know exactly how you showed up and what you're looking to take accountability for. Because you should be able to hold true to you despite what anybody else is doing. You remember when you were young and somebody would be like, you would go tell your parent or something like that, like, oh, they did this to me. And they're like, what did you do to them?
Right. I got that a lot.
That's exactly what that is. Take away all of that and look at your actions. I had to do that. And when I did that, I looked at situations where I'm yelling at people. Why am I yelling? Why am I so mad that I'm yelling at people? That's not my character. I'm an expressive person, but I don't yell at people out of anger. Why am I doing that? Now I've gone against me. I'm doing something that doesn't even fit my own character. And it could be something as small as that, or it could be something bigger. Yeah, that's a rough one, huh? It's a deep breath one.
You know, that listen, that was subconsciously done.
Right.
Was deep.
I was like,
yeah. Because it hits different. It hits different once you're able to do that, because you can no longer blame it. You can no longer say, you can stop looking at them. Look at you. What did you do in this circumstance? It doesn't matter why. Why does that matter? What did you do? Because you could very well be walking around as a person that you're not proud of, and that's why you keep ending up in situations where people are shaming you.
Message.
Thank you, sis, because I swear I don't know what else to say. I'm like,
Oh man, I love it. I love it. So here's what I want to challenge everybody to.
yes.
Make a list of all of the things that you want out of yourself. Make a list of all of the things that you want out of you, out of your life, right? And if you find a category, because I want you to do 3 different categories. We want to go heart. So all of the things that you want out of your relationships, love, familial, like family, all of those relationships.
Okay.
That category. Next category, make it about like finances and the tangibility of life, you know, your home life and everything you want out of that. And then on the other one, it's the spiritual and that thing that gives you joy and happiness and self-fulfilling, right? Those 3 categories, but make a list of all of the things you want in those 3 separate categories. And if you run into a roadblock where you like, I don't know what I want, then do this. Open up get a second sheet of paper and make a list of all the things that you don't want. Look at that list and then just start writing the opposite. Write the opposite of what you don't want.
Okay.
And when you look at the opposite of what you don't want, that is in fact what you want. Because if you don't want somebody yelling at you, then you want a peaceful conversation, right?
True.
If you don't want abuse, then you just go to the opposite of whatever that is. If you don't want to struggle financially, then you want financial security. So if you find a roadblock where you can't figure out what it is that you want, just start writing down all the things that you don't want, and they're in the opposite. That's where you have what it is that you actually want.
That's great. That's a great assignment. Oh my goodness. Does anybody have anything that they want to chime in?
I have a
Because
question.
Absolutely.
You have a podcast?
I I will actually be starting mine February. So yeah.
yes,
All
So
right.
buddy.
it will be starting February, and I'm getting it set up now. Somebody just asked me today, "Are you going live again?" And I'm like, you know what? It's about time. So I will be doing that, as well as if Teresa's okay with it. I also wanted to ask you. I was going to ask you privately, but I just asked you now. I wanted to hop on once a month and just join you guys if you're cool with that.
You know I'm cool with that. I am
Okay.
straight with that.
Okay. And
And
just,
bring it. And when you hop
share
on, you
some
can bring
different
it too.
things. Right? Right?
Bring it. Be
So,
like, okay, what has Spirit told you the last month? Let's go.
right? So, but it's under Panacea. I'll post everything into the chat so that into your chat, Teresa.
Yes,
So that
please.
way, everybody knows where to find it. And then
Good.
that way you can go ahead and join. But thank you for the question. Did you have another question?
None. You just said a lot of pointers that just had me now realizing where I was stuck at. And when it comes to like relationship, mine is like with family. I don't want to go back and review. Like Teresa said, I don't want to cry no more. Ugh,
Right.
here we go again.
Okay.
I don't want to cry no more. And I don't want to go through all these emotions because initially it hurt like hell and I don't want to review it. So I try to do something else to block it, but then I can see where it's repeating itself over and I'm getting hurt again, still going through the emotions.
Right. Right. Well, when you say you don't want to cry anymore, are you saying just right now, or are you talking about period?
Period.
Okay. Okay. You don't want to cry anymore from the same circumstance?
Yes.
What's the dominant feeling?
The
That's
pain.
pain? What kind of
Yeah.
pain?
Betrayal. Lied to.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Don't be. Not even a little bit. Don't be sorry for any emotion you ever have for the rest of your life. Don't be.
Yeah.
The pain and betrayal. Betrayal is hard. You know why
Yeah.
betrayal is so hard? I find it difficult because of this. I gave you my trust, my loyalty. I gave you the benefit of the doubt. And what you did is you exploited that. You turned against me in a way that I wasn't protecting myself. Why didn't I protect myself from you? And I feel like I left myself vulnerable.
Yeah.
How do you feel when it comes to betrayal?
Angry.
Yeah.
Hurt.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you ever apologize to yourself for leaving yourself vulnerable to that?
No.
I would start there
Okay.
because we don't mean to. We want to think well and we want to do the right thing and we want to do good things. But when we get betrayed, it's almost like we have to forgive. I say this a lot. We have to forgive that person, and that's hard enough. But then we have to forgive ourselves for even letting it happen. And the most important part is to forgive yourself for even letting it happen, because once you can do that, you can move forward and say, you know what? I can trust myself to recognize the indicators. I don't have to look for them. I don't have to be suspicious of everybody. I can trust people again, but I can recognize when I'm feeling this feeling, when I'm feeling like, you know what? You're doing things that don't align with me. I'm going to move this way. I'm going to do something different. And you can trust yourself to trust other people again, but you can also trust yourself to move differently when things are coming against you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that you got betrayed.
Why are you apologizing?
Because somebody should.
Yeah.
And they may never do it. But you deserve the apology. So now you got it. Now you just got to do the inner work to work through it.
Yes. Thank you.
Well,
Much needed. Much needed.
Yes.
Does anybody else have anything that they want to chime in on?
all right. Well, I hope that we decide to do that assignment.
Yeah.
When you do it, I promise, Teresa, check in on it. Check in on it. Maybe y'all should maybe we should post the final result. Like I want this. I don't know. Maybe we should post like your top wants. I don't know, but everybody should do that because it's gonna help you to guide you back to what it is that you do want. Because everything that you're doing right now, I can guarantee you, what people are doing, what I'm doing, even those aren't all things that are in alignment with what I want. You know what? I'm going to do it too. I'm going to do it too with you guys. So that way we can all be on our right page.
Paulette says she has a question, and I did see her hand doing this.
Oh, okay. Come on, Paulette. What do we have? What do we have?
I'm going to unmute. Well, it says ask to unmute. I don't know. Excuse me. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know. I don't know if she was like trying. I saw her nails. Yeah, I see her hand.
Mm-hmm.
Paulette.
Oh, I apologize. And the woman who just spoke, what was her name?
Cindy.
Cindy, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Now that you've been betrayed, do you feel that anger gives you a certain power?
Yes, it does. But I don't think it's the power that would lead me like in a perfect area. It's more like a distraction so that I wouldn't have to think about the betrayal.
Exactly. So power is power. That internal power is power. So when you decide to, whenever you decide to, don't lose that power, because it is fuel, and you can use that to move your life forward. You ever heard? I know it's a term people use, the glow up, right?
Yes.
Right,
So
right.
you can use that power to put yourself forward, because sometimes you got to go to the dark side. You got to go to the darkness of your thoughts and everything else to consider, hey, how can I ensure that I don't end up in this circumstance? And it will give you the fuel, the energy, the savvy, the ideas, the everything that you might need in order to put yourself in better positions. And with family, it's one of those things where sometimes if you show up different, they're going to look at you funny, but they're not going to play with you.
That part.
So, quick question, not question, but Paulette did say read her text. So, in the chat, she said that's where her question was. What is the best technique to use in a relationship to talk to a family member?
Listening.
You got that, Paulette?
When you are trying to talk to a person and you are trying to have a conversation, you showed up with your agenda. Your agenda is clear. You have something to say. But what happens is we say our piece, and then we try to reiterate and re-deliver our agenda or what we need to say. But when you listen to people deeply, like deeply listen, you learn way more than you even probably would need. And what happens is a person will express everything about how they feel, where they're at, what's going on, and everything else. If you just listen, if you say things like, tell me more about this. Okay, I don't quite understand this. Can you just explain this deeper? And the reason why I say listening is because when you respond, you probably won't respond with what you intended and set out to respond with. You probably won't say the thing that you want to happen. What you'll be trying to do is, if you're trying to resolve something with somebody, you'll be able to meet them where they are, because they're not in the same place as you. Otherwise, there wouldn't be anything to talk about. They would know what you know.
Listening is not easy.
It's not. It's not. The best ways to go about listening is this. One, hear the person in their words. Listen to how they're saying what they're saying, what they're emphasizing. If they're like, and they're yelling, listen to their anger. They're angry. Just hear them being angry. Sit back out and make room for it.
But Paulette wants to know, which is in line with what you're saying right now, but how can you get them to hear you?
Good question. Talk to them. Don't talk at them. Don't talk to you in another form. And the reason why I say you in another form is I talk to people sometimes as if they're me. Like they're going to understand the words that I use. Like they're going to understand what I mean when I say this. I have to speak your language if I want you to understand me. I can't go to Greece and then just be speaking English and expect them to understand. No, I have to speak Greek, whatever that is, right? I have to speak another person's language, and you have to talk to them. You have to reach them. You have to talk to something that they can relate to. You have to talk to something that matters to them. You have to start. And just to put in an example, right? Like, let's say, for example, actually, I was having a conversation with my brother. And when I was talking to my brother, you know, he's not the same type of thinker I am. He calls me, he calls me, basically says that I have an idealistic mind, and he cares about sound, solvable facts, cold, hard facts. That's what he cares about, what he can see. If he can't see it, it doesn't exist to him. And that's the type of person he is. So when I talk to him, if I want to reach him, I got to talk like him. I have to go to where he is and talk to him. I can't talk to him from where I am because he can't see that. He can't fathom what I'm talking about. So you have to understand their language by listening, and then you have to learn to speak their language.
Shit. This
It's
whole
like walking
freaking
up to a 5-year-old and being like, and then trying to tell them about physics or trying to tell them about paying bills. They don't get it. They don't get it. You
and
got
then
to
don't get mad at them because they don't get it.
right, exactly. You can't do that. You have to talk to them where they are.
My goodness. Good stuff. Good stuff, y'all. Paulette, do you have anything else you want to add to that? You know, that kind of reminds me of two things. The song from India Irie, Talk to Them.
Mm.
I don't know if you ever heard of that song.
I think I've heard it maybe once or twice, but I
Yes,
remember it.
that song is an amazing song, and that's the song that was ringing in my soul as you was saying that. I was just like, yes, I know it's that song. I'm gonna post it before I head out. But also like I've shared before, it was just through life that I had to start learning how to listen with the intention to understand, as opposed to listening with the intention to respond.
Yeah.
Um, because it's so easy to be like, yeah, I hear you, but yeah, I hear you, but
Mm-hmm.
it's just like,
Mm-hmm.
well, it should really be like, okay, I hear you, I understand
Mm-hmm.
where
Exactly.
you're coming from by saying or expressing or whatever.
Yeah.
So those two things. She did say, what your homework about your public speaking. Are you talking to me, Paulette, about public speaking? Or are you talking to Kashan?
So I don't. I think I know what she's talking about. So here's the thing. For a long time, I have really wanted to be a public speaker, but just recently here, I decided that I'm going to be a public speaker.
Big
An
difference, big
influential
difference.
one at that. Right.
Big
Exactly.
difference. You
Big
decided to
difference.
walk in it.
Big difference. So the
Yeah.
fact that she asked me, "Do you have a podcast?" I'm like, "Actually, yes, I will,"
Right.
because this is the decision that I've made. So I'm not stopping from that decision. And when we do our homework, right, and go through the what do we want
Right.
and line those up, all of those wants are going to coincide with that bigger want, that bigger desire.
For me, my answer is no. I did not do my homework like I was supposed to
Mm.
regarding my public speaking. So that's just me being real, keeping it a buck. Um, so
Well,
yeah, I need to
it
get
be
my
like
shit
that
together. I need
sometimes.
to get my shit together. That's just really what it be.
That's the whole thing. It be like that sometimes.
I
So,
swear it's like the week Sunday, right? Last Sunday we talked about this stuff, right? Amazing,
mhm.
another amazing time. And then Saturday came,
Yeah,
and I was
yeah.
like, "Oh my god," And then what happened on Saturday, and then here we are Sunday again. So Paulette, I appreciate you, hon, for keeping me on my toes and reminding me of what I said.
I will say this time, this week, don't give yourself any excuses, any
That's
reason.
you're
Hold
right.
yourself to it. Hold yourself to it to the point where hold yourself to it like you would hold those kids accountable for something they're supposed to do. Hold yourself to it like like, like
Like
hold yourself
yesterday with
to
the
it.
drink.
See? Hold yourself to it just like that. Hold yourself to it to the point where you're not going to let yourself off the hook. And it may feel like, oh, this is me being hard on myself. Don't do it to put yourself down. Don't do it in a bad way, but hold yourself accountable. Like, look, you said that you were going to do this. In order for you to be the best you got to do this. Let's go.
Period.
Yeah, yeah.
Like there's no alternative,
No, I
or
want
else
I
you're
want
gonna
all the
repeat.
best for you. Yeah, I want all the best for you. So we have to do this right now. And if we do this right now, then we're gonna get there. But we can't get there if you're not gonna do it. Come on, let's go.
Just do it. Paulette said, just do it.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Hey, it was great talking with you guys. Thank you for having me
Likewise.
on. I appreciate it. It was a great time. If anybody else has any other questions, I'd be happy to take them. Aside from that, I hope everybody really gained something here today. And I hope that whatever you do next, it makes you proud.
And with that being said, I'm going to stop the recording. Give me 1 second.